Hello friends and welcome to my channel for another action figure review slash light customization. Today we're going to take a look at this toy, which I don't know the name of. I'll have it in the title of the video. It's something like JMToys Gunslinger Cowboy or something. I don't usually spend a long time on the box, because I don't really care. This one's pretty simple. But I did find it funny that they used lorem ipsum on here. Like it even says lorem ipsum, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's a placeholder font when you're designing stuff. You can just fill it with lorem ipsum so you see what it looks like with copy in there. Yeah. Anyway, the reason that this has a weird name is because it is Woody from Toy Story. Now, this is based on a design by a guy that I follow on Instagram, Toyman Zhao, who does incredible, like semi-realistic interpretations of like Pixar stuff and other things. So as you can see, the boot is disconnected here at the ankle. I'll heat this up with a blow dryer and pop it back on, so not a big deal. But yeah, overall first impressions are this thing looks pretty cool. Now I'll show you Toyman Zhao's on the screen here. It looks leagues above this because this is just kind of like a general factory paint job, whereas his was like very realistically painted. So that's what I'm going to end up doing to this. But when I first saw those, I was like blown away. I love when you take something that's kind of cartoony and make it look more realistic. That's like how I got into drawing and stuff as a kid. And my full-time job now is I'm a comic book artist. So I was just so stoked to see what he was doing with these. He does really incredible realistic stuff as well, like NBA players and a bunch of other stuff. But I was really taken with this line. He also did a really incredible, Mr. Incredible. He did. So you may have seen these online. He did both young and old versions of Mr. Incredible. And that's something I've been planning to try to make, like an attempt at what he did in 1/12 scale for a long time. And I've got the parts. I just need to find the time to do it. So when I saw this guy go for order, I was super excited and had to get one. I got this from VC Toys Box, which is a very reputable site that I've ordered a lot of stuff from. They are overseas. This one was interesting because it never went up for pre-order. They just were like, hey, we have some of these in stock. And then when I went to order it, there were only a few left. So I don't know how many they actually got. We're going to take a closer look at this guy and see what he has to offer. All right, I got the foot back on, so he is whole again. Oh, and there goes the other one. All right, be right back. Okay, so it takes absolutely nothing at all for these boots to fall off. I mean, even just like pivoting at the ankle. I think it's because of the way the upper boot is like rides so low and it's on there pretty snugly. Like you can't really slide it up. So that's an immediate con to this thing. But yeah, anyway, let's take a look at what he comes with real quick. So you have a pretty vast array of hands. You got these like devil horn hands. What is this, like the stunner or something? I don't even know. But there's two of those, two middle finger hands. So, not Woody specific at all. I think they just had a bunch of hands already cast. As you can see, they're pretty low quality. These are like a knockoff Mezco style hand in the sense that like they have just a really bad paint job. You get this just kind of like open actiony hand. This almost like, I don't know, peace sign holding up the number 3 kind of hand. Two identical grabbing hands. So it does come with a lot of hands, but none of them, only the trigger finger and like maybe one of the action hand and the fist that come on it are like relevant to this character. This company is also making a Rick from Rick and Morty. I actually just did pre-order that too because it's like a soft goods Rick, which I thought was pretty cool. And it has the exact same hands. So clearly they're just getting as much mileage out of it as they can. The head sculpt looks great. The paint job is not awesome, so that's what I'm going to be upgrading. But it's Toyman Zhao did this. It comes with this alternate head sculpt, and he's got a little cigar that just pops right into a plug on his mouth. So that's a nice little head sculpt too. And I'm really excited to put some life into these. I think that'll look really cool. Beyond that, he comes with a revolver, not a period accurate looking 6-shooter at all. And it's a pretty kind of out of scale, like, sort of just flimsy, like soft plastic. And the trigger's like huge. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So, I might switch it out with like an Old West revolver because I've got a few in my fodder bin. Now, I think the body underneath, it feels like a Mix Max body or something similar. I don't want to take the clothing apart because it's sewn together. But it's a sturdy feeling body and it's got really good articulation. So that is definitely a plus for it. It's not one of those tiny little import bodies that's like size of like a SH Figuarts or something. Like it feels like, you know, more in line with like a Mezco scale. But yeah, the shirt's really nice. Like this nice clean pattern on it. You got these shiny little buttons. He has the cow hide looking vest, which is accurate to the character. Woody had a big belt buckle. I know the Toyman Zhao version had a belt buckle, and so this is definitely missing some of those details. But it does have this little thing on the holster, which I think was probably on the Woody doll. I'll try to look at some photos of that. The jeans are a nice little, you know, 1/12 scale jeans. This is a lot like what you get on GPS lot on eBay. If you're unfamiliar, that's like a eBay seller that has a lot of clothes for 1/12 scale figures. Yeah, hand comes off nice and easy, pops back on nice and easy, so no fight there. The bandana, you know, a nice little print on it. It's like printed fabric. Yeah, it's kind of bunching. You know, it's hard to do at this scale, so I'm going to have to futz with it to get it kind of how I want it. Head comes off nice and easy. Real small little ball peg in there. So, you know, you're not going to be able to like swap this with a lot of stuff. And then the boots, as I mentioned, are not good. One of the things I'm going to do is paint them to make them look weathered, which I think will help a lot. But you know, it's this split cut design, and like I said, this part sits too low, so it doesn't allow the ball peg to pop into the foot all the way in different positions. But, you know, nice little detail in the spurs here. Pretty clean paint app on the metal parts of the spurs and whatnot, so I think that's pretty good. So let's take a quick look at articulation. It's going to do everything you would expect from a soft goods 1/12 character without like a crazy tight outfit on. He's got double jointed elbows, so he gets up pretty far. Goes up to about there with the shirt and go forward and back. You've got a ball joint down here and up in the neck, so he can get full range of motion. Actually get like a really creepy like toy look to him. You got full on torso swivel, ab crunch to there. He doesn't look back super far, but that's par for the course with these. That's just kind of how the articulation scheme works. Kick out to there. Doesn't go back quite as far, but you know, you don't really need this guy to. Double jointed at the knee gets you pretty far. Of course, that foot's going to come off again, but yeah, he can almost kick his own butt. And these must be glued into the boots because this stuff is not budging. There is a ball joint up in this shin. So theoretically, if the shoe situation was like good, you could get a pretty decent amount of ankle tilt. But as it is, if you move these anything but like a few degrees swivel, it's going to fall off. He does have upper thigh swivel, got a pretty good range of motion. So yeah, I mean, aside from the ankles, the articulation on this guy is actually pretty good. This is probably in line with like a Gomez figure, I would say. The jeans feel a little low rise to me, but it's kind of par for the course in this scale. And then of course he comes with his hat. Now it's a little loose on there, but I think that's the point, so you can kind of flop it to the side and stuff, and so it doesn't scratch up the hair. So I'm gonna get him repainted, and we'll take a look at him. Here is a before shot of Woody with his 1990s eyebrows, and here he is now after the custom paint job. And yeah, this is a lot of fun to repaint, especially the size of the eyes was very nice, because usually eyes in this scale are super tiny, but because this is a little more cartoony, they're a little bit larger. Here we have a full body shot of him on the turntable, and here he is again after the paint job. And I realized as I recorded this part, I forgot to do the back of his jeans, so I went back in and did that. All right, here's Woody under more ideal lighting conditions on the workbench. And as you can see, I detailed the head sculpt quite a bit. He's got glossy eyes now. He's got more realistic eyes. Kind of gave him the rosy cheeks and nose, trying to emulate what Toyman Zhao did. I wanted to pay as much homage to what he did as possible. I think it's just way more lifelike now, so I'm pretty stoked about it. I swapped his sidearm. This is from a NECA Lone Ranger. And then I painted up his hat a little bit. I don't know how well it's showing up. Yeah, you can see some of the dry brushing on there. I painted lighter browns on his hair, and then I did a black wash in there to make it look a little more detailed. I put some double stick tape in here to hold his bandana in place, and then I dry brushed some kind of dirt looking stuff on the boots just to give those more realism and detail. These boots are a very, very simple sculpt. I'm not a fan, but you know, they get the job done for what they are. And then I went in with some white paint on a flat brush, and I did some dry brushing on some of the raised areas. I basically like scrunched his pants like that. I took the white paint and just lightly dry brushed on the raised areas, and then I took the brush with a little bit of paint on it, and I just did these little lines like that to simulate that distressed look. And I did some on the back as well where he'd be sitting, and I was surprised how well it turned out. Like, you know, it's possible to do too much paint and have it build up too much, but that worked out pretty well. One of the main issues I'm seeing with this figure as I go is like the feet and the hands want to keep popping off. Quality wise, this isn't the greatest figure, but being that it's something that's like super rare and it wasn't very expensive, body underneath is good. I really do think they just kind of recast a Mix Max body. There's this head sculpt. Let's take a look at the other one. Here's the other head sculpt. I did all the same stuff to this one. The thing that's bothering me about it is that typically if you're raising an eyebrow, you're looking that way, right? Whichever direction the eyebrow is. So he should be kind of like looking up from under his eyebrow at us here. Instead, he's looking like this. But the way that this was painted initially, there was a little bit of like a 3D texture to the paint. And so if I had done him looking the other way, I think it might have looked like he had two sets of eyes a little bit. So I tried to kind of keep with what was there. And when he's got the hat on, this one's a lot more fun. You know, he can kind of be looking out from under it at you, maybe tipping the hat or something, you know, grabbing it. Yeah, all in all, it's a really fun figure. I'm very happy I got it. Like I said, the price was very decent for a figure that comes with all this stuff. But yeah, let's get this guy in some poses and go over some final thoughts. All right, here's Woody all finished up in a couple of different poses. And I'm just realizing now that I should have just swapped the hands out, and I will do that moving forward with this figure. But Woody didn't have gloves on in Toy Story, and these hands suck, and I have a bin full of spare hands from other figures. So the flexibility of this figure does allow you to get him in some fun poses, and I'm really happy with how the paint turned out on him. You know, this is my first time, I think, if I could recall correctly, doing like a sort of a cartoony figure with a more realistic paint job. So that was a lot of fun to mess with, and to try to even, you know, get within like, I don't know, a football field of Toy Man Zhao's. Like, his paint job was so incredible. Also, I realized I completely forgot to do a size comparison, but this guy is Mezco scaled, so it might be a little taller because his head is big and his hat, but yeah, the body's a Mezco size. So this is the pose I think he's going to take on my shelf. Yeah, all in all, this is a fun figure. You know, it's got a lot of flaws. It's not great in terms of quality of the hands and the way the feet attach and stuff, but you know, for like $65 shipped, 2 head sculpts and a bunch of hands, even though they're not good, a hat, a weapon, nice soft goods, I think this is a really good value. It would cost you more to put all that stuff together individually. So I can't say I really recommend it unless you want to put in the same kind of work I did to make it a little better, but this is not one of the better figures that I've featured on the channel overall, but the potential is there, especially if you want to do what I did to it. So, and at the end of the day, I figured it was worth sharing because it looks cool and I had fun. So that'll wrap this up. If you wouldn't mind staying tuned, I have a quick little bumper on some of the other stuff that I make. I'm a comic book artist for a living, and I'm going to tell you about some of my books and where you can find them. So thank you. So that is going to do it for this video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I invite you to click the like button and hit subscribe and join me as I make cool stuff. Custom figures, dioramas, vehicles to go with the figures. I review new stuff that I get on the channel. If you're looking for other ways to support this, I've got t-shirts available. My Head on Swivel shirt, as well as several other action figure and comic book themed shirts, are available in my Redbubble shop. If you've never used Redbubble, it's pretty great. You pick the color shirt, the style, and the design you want, and they ship it right to you. Now, if you're not a t-shirt person, but you like comics, I've got several comics and graphic novels available, namely my books High Crimes, Count, and Retroactive. High Crimes is kind of Breaking Bad meets Cliffhanger. Retroactive is like James Bond meets Groundhog Day, and Count is my sci-fi reimagining of the Count of Monte Cristo. Think kind of a, John Wick meets Batman meets Zorro. It's a cool story with swashbuckling action and sword fights and vehicle chases, and it's about redemption, revenge, and revolution. So those are all available at your local comic shop, bookstore, or at the links in the description below. So to everyone who's picked up a shirt already or one of my books, thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me. I really, really appreciate it. It really helps make it so that I can do this kind of stuff and bring you more videos. Couldn't ask for anything more, so thank you. So that is going to do it for this one. Until next time, keep your head on swivel.